What do you call a Robin action figure?
Nope.
Good
A
question.
toy wonder.
Ah,
Hello, fanboys and friends, and welcome to the greatest DC comic show on YouTube. You found Fanboys Live in the Retro Review. We hope you've had a fantastic weekend, and we're happy that you're here to talk comic books with us tonight. I say we because we're joined by regulars. It's kind of a home party tonight, a cast party tonight, because we have signature king Tony Fett with us. How are you doing, Tony?
I'm
Doing
good.
good.
I'm good. Weather is incredibly warm here, like unseasonably warm. It's like almost 80 degrees the last few days.
Wow. Watch
But,
out for
I miss the old days
tornadoes.
back in the Midwest where it was 80 on Monday and then you had a foot of snow by Wednesday.
That's what we had. That's what we had this week. It was crazy. And we're also joined by Silver Hair Bronze Age Babe. How are you?
I'm fantastic, thank you. We were in the muggy weather this morning, which turned into a massive thunderstorm tonight, and but I'm alive and well and happy to talk comic books with everybody.
Awesome. We're happy that you're here. If you're watching on the rewind, thank you so much for wanting to spend some of your time with us. We do appreciate it. Let's get started by saying hi to those that are in the live chat with us. First up is John's Comics with Kids. And I specifically wore my shirt tonight because of John. He went to WonderCon this weekend in California. And this is a previous WonderCon shirt. Now, doesn't WonderCon sound like someplace I would go to?
It does.
Yes.
And I've never been. I don't know what's going on with that.
Did John's Comics with Kids end up spending a lot of money buying stuff at WonderCon?
I think so. I think he did. Now, I talked with him yesterday at the end of WonderCon, but I haven't communicated with him at all today. So
we'll see.
I don't know. We'll see. I think, yes. Yes.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
He did. Okay. Don't tell him. He did.
Okay. Don't tell Mrs. Don't tell the
Mrs.
Mrs.
Comics with Kids.
Right.
Yeah. Joel the Geek is with us. He is a frequent convention goer, occasional cosplayer, and former Fanboys guest as well. Great to have you here, Joel. And Joel, I'll let you know, I asked Joel to send me a list because he's working on volume 2 of Wonder Woman. I said, email me a list, and he did. And I went to my LCS yesterday, which is not close by, but I have such a relationship with them that I don't want to break that. I don't care if I have to travel a while to get there. And I went to a store that I knew had some Wonder Woman Volume 2s. And I pulled up his list. Everything that they had left were stuff he already had.
Oh. Oops.
Can't win it sometimes.
No.
Gordon is here. How are you, Gordon? Great to see you today. Joel is saying bright and overcast over on that West Coast. Here's our friend Super Russ 9000.
Yes.
How are you doing? And Russ, I did mention probably looking at May, but love to have you on probably in May. And I have a great idea for a retro review that you would be perfect for. Perfect.
But now, wait. It's got to be a Superman story, right?
You might want to get on this too.
Really?
But yeah,
okay.
You might. So
I'd love to.
Yeah. Joel is being very understanding about, but I tried looking for him, but I won't give up. I'll keep working on it. So Muabunga to White Tiger, cool, calm, collected. Is that boy ever going to go to a con again? He needs to. He's got a little tiger cub on the way. Pretty soon he's going to be saying, am I ever going to sleep again?
No, like if there's a tiger cub coming, cons are in your, past.
Yeah, that's a thing of the past.
Yeah.
HyperCon will be your next convention.
Yeah, DiaperCon. Yeah. So his little tiger cub is due right around the time of my birthday.
Oh, wouldn't that be great if it landed on the exact same day?
Do you think that I could name the tiger cub?
Yes, that's the rule.
So
Okay.
my eldest daughter was born on my birthday. And you
Oh,
would think that it's going to be this so cool, cute event. No, it's awful.
You don't get a birthday, basically.
Your birthday is out the window.
Window, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I can't even sleep in a little bit on my birthday. Nope, because I got a birthday party.
you're talking about
sleep in.
Signature Queen, right?
Yeah, right. And the next day,
Signature
is my brother's
Princess.
birthday. Is my
Yes.
brother's birthday. So I'm
Oh, you're totally forgotten and everything.
completely forgotten now.
It sounds like a lot of cake.
Oh yeah, the month of cake, my birthday, my brother's birthday, my dad's birthday, like
Oh,
my
jeez.
parents' anniversary, like it's all in like a
It's
span of a few weeks.
it's all sugar.
Yeah.
Look at that. Rumors are spreading.
Right place, Wonder Woman. Soft confirmation.
It's just a guess on our part.
It's
Look,
highly
Cinda's
speculative.
here.
Look, Cinda's here, who's
Hey!
awesome
Yay!
with her awesome tumblers. Still my favorite that I saw her make, although I haven't seen an update lately of any that she's made, but that Swamp Thing one still I think is like the best one that she's done.
An absolute gem. Yeah,
Yeah.
she does good work.
Yes. Here we have a request for Super Russ to read a Lobo story.
Very nice. Lobo would be nice. You mean the Jason Momoa story?
Yeah. Well, I'm not named after Casey Jones or Wade Wilson, so I still think if that falls on my birthday, I got some right somewhere. I just think.
Listen, don't joke about this stuff. I worked with a gal whose husband, this is years ago, whose husband was a Spider-Man fan, like obsessed. And their first child, whether it was male or female, guess what the name was? Parker.
Oh.
Peter
Now,
Parker.
I worked with someone whose father is a Spider-Man fan. And you know what her name is? And I'm not kidding on this. Gwen Stacy.
I was just going to say it's either Mary Jane or
Mary Jane or Gwen Stacy. Gwen Stacy is her name. So, yeah.
I don't know. Oh, what the heck?
Christina has stopped by and she's already dropping links, which we appreciate. Moderator extraordinaire. We love her and hope that she's had a good weekend. So, and Russ is saying, I don't have any Lobo comic books, so I don't know about that. I don't know.
Well, there goes your chance to come on the show. It's done.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Oh,
well.
poor Ben. Poor Ben.
Oh.
He's like the only one in comic books that stays dead.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
You know?
He's never come back.
He never comes back.
Neither does Martha Wayne.
Yeah.
You know, she just never comes back.
So do you remember, I don't know if they do it anymore, but do you remember when the Coke had the names and you found your name on a bottle of Coke or whatever? I saw this a couple times and I always purposely did it. I would find Peter and Parker and I'd put them together. Yeah. I also had done that with Clark and Kent. I'd put them together.
Funny story about the Coke name bottles. I have a good friend of mine who's born and raised in India, and he has like this impossible name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you could contact Coke and custom order bottles. So I did that, and I put it at the gas station. I snuck it in while we were going to. I put it in here. I was like, dude, like his mind was blown.
Yeah, and the gas station thought that you shoplifted.
No, he talking to the registry. They kept trying to ring it up, but
it wouldn't ring up.
Ring up.
Okay.
And I had to tell them and him like, I'm just playing a prank. I paid for it. It's custom.
Nice.
And he was depressed.
Hey, his name was on the Coke. That's what counted.
His name was so long, the font had to be shrunk down a little bit.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God. But to go to the effort of ordering it and then going to a gas station with him, it's like, hey, look over there, Godzilla, and then putting the Coke in the thing.
You know,
nice.
you go to like if last one I came into the gas station, he would go to the nachos. You know, when I go somewhere else, you know, so I'd have plenty of time.
Yeah. Then you stand there and hope someone else doesn't buy it.
I would be crushed, but like, why would you get that name? Like,
yeah.
No, Tony be like, you can't have that. You can't have that. No.
The latest name that we're saying hello to in our live chat is Kenneth Bird. Come on down. Great to see you, Kenneth. So awesome. We got some great and happening chat tonight. I love it.
Can always count on the chat.
Yeah. So I think we got, at least I do. I don't know about you, Tony, but I've got, a fair amount of DC Comics news.
I've got a few good ones.
You can kick it off if you want.
One.
Oh, well then Sarah, take it away. You go first.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yes,
well,
absolutely.
I just saw this on the internet, and there is a question whether this is actually going to happen or not.
Okay.
But it has 13th Dimension had an article saying that this book is going to be reissued. It's a collection of Superman stories from the Bronze Age, and it's a really good collection. I really like it, and I love the Andy Warhol type art that's on the front cover of this. Now, I don't really understand why they would want to reprint this, because you can find this super cheap on eBay and discount books and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm happy for it, but it just strikes me as a little strange, that they're going to reprint this whole thing. But hey, go for it. And again, obviously in conjunction with the movie. Movie money. So maybe they're not so dumb after all. But it's a good collection, and if it is true and you see it in June or whenever, think about picking it up because I like it.
I actually have a little bit of an update for that I'll get into later on in the news that ties in with what you're talking about. So, okay, cool. Tony, what you got for news?
I got 2 Lanterns casting announcements. 2. The first one is I'm gonna butcher this name, Jasmine Cephas, Cephas, Cephas. I'm not sure, and I apologize if I am. She has been cast as a reoccurring guest role. I'm not sure how you can be a guest, also reoccurring, but cool. She's playing a young Bernadette, Jon Stewart's resilient mother, and forever family fixer. A young Bernadette. We've already cast her as an older person, and now we've cast her as a young
flashbacks.
And I was thinking flashbacks because this actress is actually younger than the person they cast as Jon Stewart. So that would almost have to be a
or hologram flashback or something. Yeah.
And as Raj on Big Bang Theory said, Bernadette, won't you play my clarinet? Go ahead.
They also cast a gentleman called Sherman Augustus. He was on Stranger Things for a while. He is cast as Jon Stewart's stubborn father, Jon Stewart Sr. And I recall his face, but I think Stranger Things is the only one that I remember him being in. I'm sure he's been in a lot of other stuff that I haven't seen. So we have an older set of parents. It looks like we're starting to cast some of the younger version. Probably some flashbacks that make sense to me, but really no solid characters. Since we got Jon Stewart, or not Jon Stewart, but Sinestro. Ever since we got Sinestro, we've cast a couple people, and it's just been theories up at that point for the rest of the people we got, like Jason Ritter. We don't know who he's playing. We just know he's reoccurring.
Yeah.
Not a guest role. Just reoccurring. So,
God, I hope I hope that show's good.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah. Don't screw it up.
I agree. It
please
better
don't
be
screw
good.
it up.
Please don't screw this up because I want Lanterns to be especially good. One, because I really enjoy the Green Lantern Corps, and 2, the Green Lantern deserves a redemption. After the movie, even though the movie's not as bad as people say it is, but whatever.
I didn't think it was.
It isn't.
I thought it was okay. But
so hopefully this movie is slowly starting to put pieces into place. They're actively casting, so it hasn't been canceled. It's not sitting on the shelf somewhere forever. It is moving forward. It's getting momentum, so that's good news. But those are the 2 big ones that I had.
Okay, before I go into some of my news stories, and before he starts playing D&D, we'll say hello to Tony, Old Wolf, who has joined in the live chat. So hope that you're doing well. Thanks for spending some time with us. Do appreciate it. So WonderCon, a couple pieces of news. One that came out, I think, today. So at WonderCon, Mark Waid has said we're getting the Legion of Superheroes back into DC Comics.
Oh.
And he said not an absolute version. He said we are getting like the Legion. And he didn't provide a lot of details, but he did say that he's, and I'm quoting here, confident everyone will embrace no matter when they first got into the group. Though there's some speculation that with this upcoming timeline of the DC universe, that they're redoing the history of the DC universe that we talked about last week, that this will probably insert some type of a footnote, that project will, for them to go forward in doing this Legion of Superheroes. So they're coming back.
Well, that's neat. I mean, it would lend itself to whatever you want to do with it, because there are only 1 million of them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So you can, what kind of story do you want to tell? We've got a bunch of characters that can do that. So
yeah. Another story that came out of SDCC, you know how we've talked about these awesome Superpowers action figure variants, like you see that one for Nightwing, you know?
Yep.
That was announced at WonderCon. That Nightwing is going to be made into an actual figure.
Oh.
So they've announced, McFarlane is in its final years with DC, from what it sounds like. And in their presentation on Friday, they've shared that Nightwing is going to be in their next wave, along with, now Old Wolf will like this, Deadman.
Deadman. Awesome.
Yes. Cyborg and Animal Man are all coming in summer of 2025.
I wonder why they chose those. What was it with those 5 or 4 figures?
I don't know. They're interesting choices. You know, I always wish that there would have been a female inclusion in each wave, but if I'm trying to think, if I could have had a female character, which one would I wanted? I'm leading with like classic Black Canary and fishnets.
Yeah,
you know, because I don't think I'm getting Lady Cop.
I don't. Lady Cop, no Lady Cop, no Lois Lane. Fine.
What about Continuity Cop?
Continuity Cop, yeah. Tony's happy there.
What
already.
about that bitch Chelsea? You know,
that bitch Chelsea.
Bitch Chelsea.
Yes.
Dang, Chelsea.
Yes. So Mike Grell, associated with the character Warlord, who we have featured on Fanboys in the Retro Review in the past. Warlord is getting an omnibus. Finally, it's a Volume 1 omnibus that will be coming out on November 25th of this year. And it collects his first appearance and first issue special number 8, plus Warlord's issues 1 through 50, and Amazing World of DC Comics number 12. And it's looking at a $75 US price tag. Now, for as much content as you're getting, I think that's a pretty good price tag.
It's not a bad.
There's a lot of meat on those bones.
Yeah, for sure there is. And let's start talking about, do either one of you own any of these DC Finest reprint collections in your title? I know, Tony, you're not real big on the reprints and stuff, but Shabab, do you own any?
I don't think so.
I don't either. They're
not
soft
sure
cover.
I know if they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
are they new? Is that something that? Okay, I did look at them, but whatever characters I was looking at, the stories just didn't seem to like really, fall into my bailiwick. So I was like, Well,
let's see if any of these do, because they have added 10 more from to this lineup that's going to be coming out before the year is over with. And there is Green Lantern, Earth's Other Green Lantern.
Okay.
That will be coming out on November 18th. There's a Hawkman, Wings Across Time, which looks like it covers his early appearances. That is scheduled for August 19th. We have a horror, The Devil's Doorway. Oh, I hear some excitement from the panel.
Okay, now I'll get that one.
You will?
Oh, I love the DC mystery books.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and look, they used one of the Neil Adams covers. So
yes.
Hello, of course I'm going to get that.
That is September 9th.
Great.
We have Spectre, The Wrath of the Spectre. Now we have some more panel happiness.
Cool. Yeah. I have that cover. I have that issue with that cover on it.
That's a great cover.
That's a key issue too. It was his first solo series.
Yeah, nice.
Is that one going to include the Jim Aparo one where he turns into that 10-issue run in the 70s where he turns into the
Spectre 1 through 10 is included.
Oh, good. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's worth a read.
Cool.
Those are really worth it.
And what I like about these retail for $40.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, soft cover, but I think for $40 you're getting a good haul of material in these.
Yeah.
Up next is Static, Playing with Fire. And the crowd goes silent.
I've never even heard of this character.
I'm very familiar with Static, but Playing with Fire, but yet he's using electricity.
Okay.
It's just not adding up.
Yeah.
I was more confused than anything. That's like saying Wonder Woman, cold as ice. Like, why?
Here's one that I think is going to get a better reaction because this is the one I'm excited for. Super Friends, the Fury of the Super Foes.
That has Ryan written all
Yes,
over
doesn't
it.
I mean, I own all of these issues already. I'm going to get it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm getting it. That one is scheduled for November 4th. We have Supergirl, Body and Soul.
Okay.
Superman, the Invisible Luthor, which looks like some Golden Age stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it has to be Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster are the creators. So
okay,
that's scheduled for December 2nd. We have War, the Big Five arrive.
That has some appeal to me because I only have a couple of Sergeant Rock comics in my collection, and I like them, but it's just something I never went and chased. And the Joe Kubert does all the art for Sergeant Rock, so that might be neat. And aren't they trying to make a movie of Sergeant Rock too? So,
and then we get Wonder Woman introducing Wonder Woman.
How many times can they do all this Wonder Woman stuff? It's great.
December 9th is what that's scheduled for.
Well, those look promising. I'm intrigued.
Cool. But now we have DC has made some 2026 announcements. Their first releases for 2026, and some of them are falling under this World's Finest line. So I thought we would cover those and then talk about a few other things in 2026 that's been announced. So we'll start out with Batman, The Legend of the Dark Knight. So we're doing some Golden Age Batman.
Okay.
That's looking at January 27th of 2026. Look at this, the Doom Patrol, the death of the Doom Patrol. I want to get that. That looks so good.
Those Doom Patrol stories from the Silver Age are so great. That looks like a great collection to take you all the way through.
So from what I understand, there already is a Silver Age Doom Patrol DC Finest version. Either it's out or it's about to come out, and this is like the volume 2 of it.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yes, and this is scheduled for January 13th, 2026. And so that's for the World's Finest. Yeah. And then some other 2026 announcements that they've made. And we'll jump back and revisit Silver Hair Bronze Age Babe, which you were talking about just a little bit ago, as 13th Dimension shared. Superman in the 70s is going to be a 2026 release.
Oh, okay.
So that's looking like January 27th, 2026.
Oh. Movie.
Yeah. So
just in time for it to start streaming. So
probably. And then Wonder Woman: The Silver Age Omnibus is coming. This omnibus will wrap up all of her Silver Age that needed to be collected in omnibus form.
Okay.
So that's volume 3 for January 27th, which sounds like January 27th is going to be a big release week.
Yeah, bring your wagon to the comic book shop.
Yeah.
Jeez, yeah, tell me about it.
And then the new history of the DC Universe, which hasn't even been published yet, is going to be collected together in a trade on January 13th of 2026.
Jumping the shark a little bit.
Yeah, but we know that is coming for sure. So any thoughts about those?
I think it's kind of interesting that they're, collecting all these stories and putting them out in these, kind of definitive versions, which I appreciate, but it also makes me wonder, are these comic books going away? You know what I mean? It's like, it's just a movie property company now. You know what I mean? So if you actually want to read stories, good on them for putting them together and making them available in some way. But it also, I am a big fan of getting the original books and smelling them and reading the letters to the editor and all that kind of stuff.
That's my favorite too, is the letters.
Yeah, just it's time travel, but
and the ads and the letters.
Oh please, come on! How many sea monkey? I still want sea monkey.
Well, so back before the age of the internet, you had to call a number. So I mean,
right.
Half the time, I want to call the number just to see what happens.
Yeah. And one more news story. Believe it or not, we've had a lot of news stories.
Is big.
Yeah, but I've got one more for you that I found that was announced this week. Is it the Palais Center, which has locations in California and in New York? I think Palais. Okay. The Palais Center.
Palais Center. Yeah.
Palais Center in May will be honoring Linda Carter for 50 years of the Wonder Woman TV show debut, with a special evening devoted to that. And Linda will be in attendance for that.
Oh, nice. Oh,
yeah.
Good. Well,
so
that's great.
Yeah, in a press release that went out about that, they said this year marks the 50th anniversary of Linda Carter's groundbreaking portrayal, which brought Wonder Woman to life with strength, courage, and compassion in a way that resonates deeply with audiences.
Oh, good.
So I imagine when we get to around that weekend in May, we might do something retro review to tie in with the Linda Carter, because there are Linda Carter adaptions in the comic books.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's great.
While there's a Superman, what do they call it? Superman 78? Is that what they call it? Where it's the Christopher Reeve version?
Yeah.
There's a Wonder Woman 77, which is Linda Carter. So, she's writing it on her list.
I gotta write down. Gotta write it down. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and they usually stream those, as John is mentioning too. They usually stream those events on YouTube. So I'll be watching that for sure when that hits. So
great.
That's what I have for news. It's a lot tonight.
That's a lot. That's
yeah.
That's a good thing. DC has lots for us to talk about.
Yeah. Well, that segues us into our retro review, which I picked tonight. And I thought it was time to show some Teen Titans love. And so what I said to our panel is, pick a Teen Titans Volume 1 story, and let's each do that for our retro review tonight. Joel, you're absolutely correct. That was a good series, too. So, Signature King, if you don't mind pulling up the assist for our first issue, I can get us kicked off with our retro review. I'm gonna start it out with Teen Titans Volume 1, Issue 6. Any thoughts on that cover?
Go Chucks, baby. Come on.
Yeah.
It's DC. Got an ape.
Yeah, exactly.
A la Beast Boy. I mean, purple. I'm all in on that.
I remember vaguely, I think it was in the DC. Have you ever seen the little documentary they put together called Necessary Evil?
Mm-mm.
Where they talk about just DC villains and how they played the role in DC history. And they were talking about back in this era of DC Comics, they actually had to put a rule about having gorillas as villains because they would do it so often. They had to backtrack and be like, okay, only certain issues on certain numbers can have gorilla villains, because everyone was fighting gorillas.
I do remember that they said that gorillas increase sales.
Sure, that could be.
So,
yeah,
whatever.
That makes sense to me.
Okay, but we'll get started here on our first page. Is actually kind of a little recap of what we're going to get in the story. The Titans are trapped inside an escape artist tin coffin, and it looks like they're about to be drowned. And it says in this issue, we're going to have special guest Beast Boy. So on the next page, the story officially kicks off, and we have Robot Man of the Doom Patrol, and he's singing, "Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam." And there's a buffalo, all right. It's Beast Boy, who's knocking him in his back and surprising him, and Robot Man tosses him. Beast Boy's wanting to prove to the Doom Patrol that he's has, the power to join the group. He goes over to Negative Man and coils him up like a snake. And Negative Man uses his form to escape from his body and to take care of Beast Boy. Next up, he's going to play a little bit with Elastigirl. So he turns into a mouse and she shrieks a mouse, eek, and grows real tall. And then on the next page, she almost squashes him with her foot. And then she realizes, she was kind of taking that a little bit too far and she should calm down. But maybe he gets what he deserves, for doing that. The Chief is watching Beast Boy. And he's like, I know he's trying to prove himself, but we can't make him a Doom Patrol member without his Guardian's permission, which his Guardian, Geltry, is never going to give that permission. So he calls Beast Boy over. And he essentially says that, hey, without your Guardian's permission, I can't do anything. So Beast Boy is pretty bummed and he leaves and he comes up with an idea. He's like, I know a group that probably will take me. So he goes to a TV station and they're freaked out by him and like, who or what is this? But they give him airtime because they say, as a public service, we got to give him airtime. Okay, Sonny, you're on. So he sends a message to the Teen Titans on where to meet him at. And the Titans see the message and they show up. And he thanks them for coming, and he says, well, I want to join the Teen Titans. And Kid Flash says, huh? You? Just who are you, kiddo, to want to join the Titans? Some nerve. What are your powers? Or do you just scare babies with that face?
He's mean. He's
yes.
a mean guy.
So he decides to show him what his powers are, and he changes in to all these different animals, and he talks about, he can be any bird, beast, or fish, but he always has a green face, and that's part of this disease that gave him this power. So he demonstrates his powers and he says, the Doom Patrol won't take me. So you're my second choice, essentially, you're second best. He says, so the Doom Patrol, and they say, why won't the Doom Patrol take you? And he says, well, they need my Guardian's permission. And Robin says, well, you would need that too to join the Titans. And they all go on to say that, Batman gave my permission, the Flash gave my permission, Queen Hippolyta did, and Aquaman all gave me permission. So you would need to have that too. You'd make a great Titan, but without that, there's nothing you have. And he says, well, fine then. And he takes off as a bird. And they said, wait a minute, come back. But it's too late. He is mad and he's out of here. As he's flying away, he sees this trailer for Baltazar, the Beastmaster, and he decides he has to do a little bit of investigating. And so he swings down and he starts talking to this Bolitzer, and who's kind of in a funk because he can't afford decent animals for his circus act. And Beast Boy says, well, wait a minute. And that concludes chapter 1. So in chapter 2, we start out 2 weeks later, and Beast Boy has joined the circus, and he's a huge hit, a huge success. They won his autograph, and Bellatar is so happy. He's got the success that he's looking for with the circus with Beast Boy. And they're showing some of the circus acts there with Beast Boy running through the fire hoops, and then turns around and takes his turn as a ringmaster himself, having the real animals do the job. And sometimes he even coils into a snake that they have to jump through, and everything's good. Unnoticed by the crowd that's just taken by Beast Boy, Bolitzer signals for a certain figure in the shadows, and this figure is Vorna, the greatest hypnotist. And he sends a hypnotic message to Beast Boy. And what happens is Beast Boy kind of freezes and his eyes don't blink, and he's looking at the crowd and he's hypnotizing the crowd. And they, they're under hypnosis. They don't even know this is going on. They surrender all their goods to him. So they start throwing their money and their valuables and their jewels. And then on the next page, Bolitzer essentially gets like this vacuum cleaner mobile and sucks up all of the money that's been thrown down. And they're like, this is perfect. We have done it. And these people leave not knowing what happened to them. And Beast Boy is unaware of what happened as well because they've all been hypnotized. When he comes to, he's like, what happened to the crowd? And they're like, they were just mesmerized and transfixed by your abilities. And he's like, you know, you didn't need the Doom Patrol of the Titans. You've got a home now where you belong. So a few days after that, the Titans have gotten a message about a mob that's pillaging a shopping center. So they go to look, and there's these people looting and grabbing stuff. And the Titans are trying to stop them and figure out exactly what's going on. Their Wonder Girl, she goes up and she grabs... she says she's going to grab a few whirls, and around she goes with this thing, and she essentially is detrancing these people because they're all the same people that were in the audience who were given a hypnotic suggestion to go steal all this stuff and then bring it back, having no idea what they're doing. They're not of their own mind, and Wonder Girl finally frees them of that by spinning that little loop. They realize that Beast Boy is now with the circus. Well, soon after, who applies to be members of the circus but this acrobatic team? And they say, well, let's give them a demonstration and show how good they are. Gee, I wonder who these people are, who this acrobat team really is. So they give a demonstration. He says, yep, you can join the circus. And they say, okay, we can keep a closer eye on what's going on by being part of the circus. And Beast Boy's like, well, they don't take my top billing. I am still, you know, Beast Boy. I am number one in the circus. And like, of course you are. Of course you are. So another show goes on, and it even includes, as you'll see on the next page, Beast Boy, who's turned into an elephant, and he's playing a trumpet. I mean, you don't see that every day. That's got to be worth the $2 admission they probably paid back then. The Titans are in disguise, watching, trying to figure out what's going on. And on the next page, they see exactly, once again, Beast Boy's being hypnotized, and he's hypnotizing the audience. They're getting an idea of what's going on. So what they decide to do so they don't get hypnotized is they jump in this escape trunk. And unbeknownst to them, someone saw them, came in, and realizes they're not hypnotized and realizes something must be going on. So he locks them in there, and that concludes part 2. So as we kick off part 3 of the story, The Fifth Titan, he has commanded the elephant, who's sucking up all the money with his trunk like a vacuum, and he's commanded the elephant to take this magic trunk and dunk it essentially in this huge thing of water. And the Titans all of a sudden realize that they've been submerged, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to get out of here. Essentially, they say it's going to be up to teamwork, especially between Kid Flash and Aqualad. So those two, Kid Flash grabs a hold of Aqualad, and they are able to vibrate through the solid steel of the submerged trap and essentially free the Titans. When they do, they climb back up the towers, are at the top, and now Beast Boy, who has been hypnotized, isn't aware of what he's doing. He's been ordered to take on the Titans. And that's kind of where we get this cover image from. And I love that one panel is essentially just like the cover. I love it when what you see in the cover is you actually get in the story.
Yeah.
So when this happens, the crowd snaps out of their hypnosis, and they think that it's part of the planned act. Teen Titans and Beast Boy fighting in a fake fight, but it's a real fight. As they go on, we see that Beast Boy has transformed himself into half gorilla and half snake, and he's battling, the Titans that are perched up above, and he's battling Aqualad in the water down below at the same time. So the Titans are trying to outmaneuver him with some aerial feats, and they realize they got a pretty good threat against them in the form of Beast Boy, when all of a sudden, and I thought this was quite odd, Balasar says, "Fire me up there." So he gets in the cannon, and he wants Vorna to shoot the cannon off and fire him up there. And Vorna's like, well, that's kind of odd. That's too dramatic. Why don't we just take the loot and leave? And he says, no, my early training as an acrobat will stand well, and I'll destroy these Titans. So Titans realize that Balasar is flying up there. You keep going on another page or two. And when he gets up there, all of a sudden Beast Boy has broken his spell, and he's not being hypnotized. And he says, how are you not under hypnosis? And Beast Boy says, only if you instruct them not to remember, and you forgot to do that. So that's why I broke out of the hypnosis. So they've got him now. They've got Vorna. No one is hypnotized anymore. They realize what's happened. And Beast Boy says, maybe I'm not ready to join your team after all because I was suckered by Bolitzer. And Robin says, you were suckered because everyone rejected you. Your guardian, the Doom Patrol, and us. Maybe we ought to reconsider. And then, turning to the camera in the final panel, Aqualad says, suffering Sunfish, Robin, why don't we put it up to our readers? And then Robin says, great idea, Aqualad. What do you think, readers? If you think we should accept Beast Boy as a member, drop a letter in the Teen Titans mailbag. See you next issue. And our story comes to an end.
Aren't they clever?
I wonder if he gets to join.
Spoiler, he doesn't.
Never saw him again.
Nope.
Well, incidentally, he becomes a Teen Titan under the name Changeling when Marv Wolfman and George Perez reboot the Volume 2 title in issue number 1.
See, you have a character under copyright. It's like you can come back every 20 years or so.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So we don't lose the copyright.
Or don't lose the copyright.
Yeah. Up next will be issue number 31, which was chosen by Silver-Haired Bronze Age Babe.
Yeah, this is from 1971. And it's interesting, Ryan, that your story involved hypnosis and mind control. This story touches on this as well. So the first page of the story, we start at there's a guy who's sitting in a waiting room and he's overhearing a university psychologist talking to a student who says she just can't concentrate because my mind wanders. I keep thinking about the world situation, the war, the student unrest. I just can't concentrate. And so the doctor's solution is to perform a minor operation on her brain. And the guy waiting in the lobby is like, what are you talking about? And he overhears the doctor saying that he will implant a computer circuit that will help her focus. So the student overhears this and runs out of the office. And then as he's running out, he kind of reflects on the fact that he's seen a lot of students around campus walking in kind of a trance. And he wonders, gee, have they had that operation? And then and so that's the precursor to the story. And then we get a nifty splash page with the Titans running from a horde of angry students. And the Titans are wondering, golly, what have we gotten ourselves into? Weeks later, the Teen Titan Wally West is visiting that same college with his uncle, who is going to give a science lecture at the school. And so he's like, hey, while you give the lecture, I'm going to check out the campus. And while he's doing that, he sees that student from the previous bit being chased and kind of attacked by other students. And so Wally, then we get this lovely big page of Wally turning into Flash, Kid Flash, and beating up the ne'er-do-wells. He saves the student who tells him to take him to the hills where he has been hiding out these many weeks. And so the student's name is Johnny Adler, and he explains that ever since he ran out of the psychologist's office, he's been hunted down by these zombified students. And when Wally asks the basic question, well, why aren't you just leaving? There's some really strange response that, well, he can't. The only way to leave campus is through campus, and it makes no sense, but the plot needs him to stay, so he stays. Wally's like, you know what? You know what you need? You need groceries. So literally, Kid Flash goes and buys him some groceries. And then he calls on the other Titans to join him to suss out this mystery. And so the next day, the Titans wander the campus. And then we get dialogue like this. And remember, 1971, Teen Titans. I don't dig, Wally. They look like ordinary kids to me. A bit more clean cut, maybe, but ordinary otherwise. Hey, cats, don't dig it. So they have Lilith with her and with them, and Lilith is a character that can read people's minds and such. And she's like, well, I just can't get on their wavelength. I don't know what's happening. Then meanwhile, on that top of that page, we get a scene with the psychologist and the school's acting president. And they say they aren't doing anything wrong with the computer chips because student unrest has stopped. Like for an entire year, there's been nary a protest sign anywhere. And it is what these parents would want. They don't want their children protesting and, making a ruckus. So back out on the campus, the Titans see some loudspeaker, which is how the orders are given to the brainwashed students. And Kid Flash then explains that Johnny is hiding in the hills and they should leave and go find him. And as they do that, the doctor and the school president are like, yeah, we might be in trouble with that kid who ran away. I'm not sure. It's odd we haven't caught him yet. So then we get to the next page and we've entered chapter 2. And the Titans get to Johnny's little hillside shack where they find that his groceries have been scattered all over the floor. No. And Johnny is missing. So they head back to campus because they fear that the zombified mob has found him and have taken him back to they assume this is why the Titans are so smart. They basically assume that, well, he must have been drugged. He must have had the operation. And they figured that they're actually, in addition to drugging him and operating on him, they probably shaved his mustache and cut his long hair so that he would never be recognized because he would fit in with all the straight-laced, kind of looking like everybody else. But then suddenly, over those loudspeaker comes an announcement saying, hey, there, those 5 wearing strange uniforms, get them, attack. So the students have been ordered to attack the Titans, and then a battle ensues. And then meanwhile, up in the office, the doctor urges the students on, even though the college president is finally twigging to the fact that, this might be wrong. This might not be a good idea. And says, maybe we shouldn't do that. And the doctor basically says, yes, I can. I worked hard transforming this college to a worthwhile place. I'm not about to let anyone ruin it. And oh, by the way, you're only here because I helped you get the acting president job. So thanks so much. Meanwhile, Johnny is near the riot, and he starts to struggle to follow the attack orders to fight against the Titans and all. And he actually realizes that he has this desire. He's fighting the desire to join in, even though he knows it's evil. It's like, I got to fight it. I must fight against this desire. And he decides to, and then he finally, because of his ultimate brain power, remembers faintly that, I was attacked myself. What is this? Wait a minute. I think it's that doctor. I think I got to go stop him. And so he wanders over to the administration building while the Teen Titans continue fighting the students who just keep coming. And Johnny remembers that he was attacked, remembers the psychologist had something to do with it. So he goes up to the office and he punches out the doctor, which kind of basically takes care of the doctor. The Teen Titans, continue to fight off the students until an announcement comes over these loudspeakers saying the fight is over, stop. So it turns out that Johnny has forced the doctor to make an announcement over the loudspeaker, even though Johnny's brain is still kind of mushy. With his last amount of strength, he's like, you know what, before I pass out here, I better rip the cord of this PA system out so that he can't get the microphone back and, use the PA system. And then basically that works, and the riots stop, and later police show up and arrest the doctor. And the doctor is like, you fools, because of you, there's going to be riots on this campus. Many, many riots. You let these kids control their own destiny and they'll burn this place to the ground. Just wait and see. And then the Titans are like, well, hey, after all that, after all they'll have an operation. They'll be back to normal. He was right. He didn't permanently damage the students' brains. And Johnny proves one thing, too. The true human spirit cannot be controlled no matter how you try to do it. But there's just one thing that bothers me. Sure, Johnny fought against the computer circuits, but what about all those other students? Is the will of the majority really that weak? Is it really that easily subverted? And that ends our story about a computer chip that can short circuit your brain.
Hey, in 1970 or one or whatever, that's pretty advanced,
No kidding. So now we got to see if Tony's story has anything to do with mind control or hypnosis. So
I got bad news. It don't.
Oh man.
Come on, man.
So Tony, which story did you pick for us?
So this one was a little bit interesting. This one has a lot of characters in it. Not only does it have the Teen Titans,
as Beast
Boy, Golden Eagle, Hawk and Dove, not Batgirl, but Batgirl. We have the Harlequin, we have Maul, we have all kinds of people. We have Teen Titans East Coast, and we have Teen Titans West Coast.
Oh my god.
And this is a key issue, as there are separate Teen Titans teams operating at the same time. So,
okay.
I'm sure a lot of Marvel also did the same thing. Neither one of them was very successful. So
with Avengers and Avengers West Coast. Yeah.
Yep.
But Titans did it first.
Oh, did they? Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they did.
So here we have we start off with the Titans, and they are coming back from touring a university, and they're just chatting about their experience, and then their train starts to fly. So I can imagine that that would be scary. And if we look down here, we zoom out on this panel here on the right, literally the train tracks are coming off the ground. So the FFA was all over it. The Teen Titans jump into action here. They get everybody off the plane, as one would, and they can confront the engineer up at the front and say, "Hey, our train is flying. What's going on?" And they say, "We don't know. It's just flying. The train tracks just started coming up off the ground. Never seen that before." But Robin and Harlequin, have to sit this one out, as it's up to the Speed here, Flash, to get everybody off the train. And Wonder Girl is here to stop it, and she does just in the nick of time. And they say, what's next? You know what I mean? Like, this is insane. Like, trains are flying. We got to get to the bottom of this, like a Scooby-Doo mystery. And then we cut to Captain. I keep messing up his name. Calamity. Captain Calamity. It turns out he is behind the whole thing. They say, "Hey, now that everyone's off the train, the trap has been sprung, and I'll start robbing people." And Harlequin, who took me a minute to realize that she was not like the first version of the Joker's daughter, had like this, punching glove on a spring, and she's able to punch him out. And Robin is taking care of the other thugs, and Wonder Girl is doing her best, but she actually gets knocked out by a purse. And Amazon is subdued by a purse. And she is down for the count, and that allows everyone to escape. So we cut to the aircraft carrier, USS Tripacanoe.
Oh,
I like that name.
God.
Yep. And they're having a tennis match right on the runway, kind of like a special broadcast here. And one of the tennis players won, and all of a sudden the aircraft carrier starts taking off, like flying away. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on?" We cut to Garfield and Beast Boy, and he is getting the call to help. So he is on his way, and then we have a guy at a gas station who is pumping gas, and he is ready to fight the gas station attendant over $3 in gas.
Ooh.
He's upset because it cost him $3 to fill his car.
Oh. You poor man.
Don't eat the nachos.
Yeah, right.
He was saying, yeah, right. I wonder how much nachos were of gas to fill up your car with $3. Here's a nickel, you know what I mean? Keep the change. So he's telling him, he should join the service. All of a sudden he sees a flying aircraft carrier. So Batgirl and Hawk are actually on board. They were part of the audience in the tennis match, and they are helping sailors from falling off the edge. Beast Boy is arrived with the Golden Eagle, and they're trying to pull it down. A 70-ton, not even a 70-ton. This aircraft carriers are hundreds of tons, and he's a bird trying to pull down an aircraft carrier. So it doesn't work. So his next best logical solution was to turn into an elephant and see if he could use the weight. He said, presto, changing into a jumbo elephant. But when you look at it in comparison to people, it's just a regular elephant.
With a green face.
With a green face. And we cut back to Hawk and Batgirl up at the top, and they said, hey, look, I think that's Hawkman and a green-faced elephant hanging onto the anchor.
That's funny.
The Scooby-Doo plot thickens. So they are not able to really do anything, but as quickly as the aircraft carrier arose, it softly descended into back into the ocean. And this is probably the best part of the whole issue. And the Titans are just ripping on Golden Eagle about his costume. And I can see why.
Oh my god!
No nipples.
No. Yeah, well, that wasn't where my eyes went.
Oh,
it was the. Not only did he have the big golden wings, but his ears also had wings.
Oh yeah, they do.
Dude, you look ridiculous.
So because are they supposed to represent multiple Hawks? Is it Hawks men or Hawks man? I don't know. But yeah, they're like, I thought you were Hawkman. He doesn't dress like that. But he pulls out here. He's like, yeah, I met the Justice League once, and Hawkman gave me this set of wings. I
have that issue, by the way, where that happens.
Oh, do you?
I do, yeah.
He said that he met Hawkman once.
Yeah.
He was granted this ridiculous outfit.
And his nipples taken away.
And his nipples were removed. That is a prerequisite if you're going to dress like that. Okay. So they're having like an after action report trying to figure out how this aircraft carrier came into the sky. So this is also a really funny part here. So they go to headquarters, and it says this is the description for the headquarters. Their headquarters, one floor below Gabriel's Horn, which is a store that sells horns. Like car horns. So they are so poor, they got to rent out the basement of a horn wholesaler.
It's like Scotch tape. That's all I sell. Scotch tape.
Yeah, right. Sells one
sell
thing really well.
I bet Staples used to only sell Staples.
Staples.
Yeah. So you have Speedy, who's the sidekick for Green Arrow, and Robin, the sidekick for Batman. They can't convince those two to toss them a couple of bucks for a secret lair. But they were able to rent out or lease, I should say. They're able to lease out a basement. That's got to be hard to keep your secret identity, because the secret lair, if you look at it, it's got all kinds of computers in the background and screens and monitors. They're gonna see that stuff coming in. But anyway,
I
love these old campy stuff ones that if you apply a little bit of thought, like it doesn't work.
No.
So they're trying to figure it out, and they notice that there are clues laid around each scene. Each one ties back to Captain Calamity. So they go off on a quest to find Captain Calamity, and planes start falling out of the sky. They're like, well, those are the things that are supposed to fly, so that makes sense. So that's a problem if they're not. And they are able to catch this plane. It did crash, but luckily no one was hurt. But on that board of that plane was Captain Calamity and his goons. And that's our big cliffhanger. So they have Captain Calamity, and he has their Titans at gunpoint, essentially. So
dun 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 dun.
Last part of this issue, I got to call issue with, I guess. So they sent people to deal with a potential supervillain that have no powers. Robin, Speedy, and Harley Quinn. Not Wonder Girl, not Kid Flash, not Aqualad, the street level.
Not
heroes.
even the Hawk guy with his fancy hat. I mean, he could.
Not
fly,
even the nippleless
right?
golden eagle
Golden Eagle.
could take care of him. But and that's the big cliffhanger. So if you really want the resolution to that problem, you have to get the next issue.
I remember being so excited buying that as a back issue when I was a childhood collector. Oh, I wanted that issue 50 so much because I was sold by the cover. You know, I love the cover on it.
It's a good cover.
Yeah.
Did you know when you picked it up that the story actually had to continue? So you're like, oh God, now I gotta go find 51.
It was never. I would have gotten 51 eventually anyway. So
yeah.
And I had no problem ever reading my back issues out of order. You know, some people like, oh, I have to collect the entire story and then read it. Not me. I'll read it out of order even to this day. Sometimes I know I have the second part before I had the first part, and I'll read it anyway. I don't care.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So some thoughts about any of the stories that we talked about. I guess I can start by, besides sharing that story that I did just now in issue 50. Sarah, the story you reviewed, I thought was interesting because the Titans were out of costume, with the exception of Kid Flash for the majority of the story. I thought that was interesting. And
well, there was a precursor issue.
Yes, there was,
where they talk about giving up their costumes.
Yeah, our costumes will never wear them again.
Right, and of course, well, that lasted. And again, readers wrote in and said, "What the heck? I want my costumes on my Teen Titans." So they slowly were building them back in.
Yes.
So yeah.
And readers did not write in to say, "I want Beast Boy to join." Which they were requested to do so in my book. They didn't do that.
No.
Overall, the stories that we read were a bunch of fun. The issue that Tony reviewed, 50, is a Rich Buckler cover. The other two that Sarah and I did were both Nick Cardy covers. Of course, we love Nick Cardy.
Yeah.
So, and one more thing before I let you guys talk about what we said. When, Tony, you were reviewing that story about living above the Horn store, it reminded me this episode of the Wonder Woman TV show from the 1970s. Martin Mull guest starred as the Pied Piper, and he would play his little piper and hypnotize people. And he was hypnotizing Jan Brady. I'm not kidding. It was Eve Plum. And anyway, he gets a sense that Eve Plum's character, her father, is something important. So instead of saying, "What does your dad do for a living?" he says, "What type of horn does your daddy blow?"
That's
how he asked.
Oh my God. Don't you love the 70s? So cool.
What kind of horn does your daddy blow? Okay, you guys' thoughts and stuff.
Oh God!
I gotta call out the first issue you read.
Okay.
We really got a glimpse of Kid Flash on a moped.
Yes, we did. Why? You think that would be slower for him?
It is.
Yeah.
Those mopeds are like, maximum they're going like 25.
Yeah.
You know, they're not even fast in the car, so that was a downgrade. But I thought She-Bab's issue was pretty interesting. A lot of twists and turns, and you know, my issue was just, it was absurd and silly. But I mean, that was the time. I mean, they were all kind of silly and, you know, slapstick, and you know, here we have an evil clown hero. So weird, but that's okay. That's why we love it.
That's why. Yeah. Well, I was surprised as Brian was reading his story. It's like, oh my God, mind control, hypnosis, same thing, you know, a recurring theme here. Yeah. And the other thing I noticed in both of those two stories, and I imagine the same would be true in the third, once if we were to read it, but actually, if you think about it, the Teen Titans didn't solve anything.
They didn't.
They did not solve the problem. Beast Boy took care of it for them in that story, and the Johnny Adler took care of it, basically. You know what I mean? All the Teen Titans did was, you know, kind of run a diversion tactic of fighting, and that's, you know, so it. And I think a lot of those stories from the 70s actually had a lot of that going on. And where they were trying to get away from the violence of it to, like, you know, these are teenagers and let's try and stop being violent. But then readers wrote in, and I don't know if I have the cover. And basically, we're like, come on, will you have them stop this nonviolent stuff? It's really boring. I don't have it. And basically, they brought Robin back, and he just started beating the crap out of people, you know, and it was on the cover, you know, whatever one he came back in. So, it's fun. It's funny. And you know, in the 1970s, student unrest and politics was a real powder keg of social angst for the adults. And so it's not surprising that they would pick a college campus and bring mind control and, you know, that kind of stuff to talk about. But Steve Skates, I think, wrote this story that I read, and he's, you know, nice progressive lefty, and you know, I think put it in a nice frame, you know, but you're right, Tony. I mean, these are just silly and funny. You know, they're just,
they are.
You dig, man.
You dig cats.
Grab the
no,
Wonder
I don't
Chip.
dig any cats.
Come on,
right.
Slasheroo, let's grab the Wonder Chip.
Right.
Yeah.
But I can't help but love them. I just love them.
Me too. That will segue us into our book show portion. If it's okay with you guys, I'm going to go first today, because what I have for a book show ties in a little bit with what we were just talking about.
Oh, great.
So I'll keep the momentum going. First, I'll talk about my channel and what has happened on my channel. And what has happened on my channel was a back issue of the week YouTube short. I've been saluting Women's History Month all month long, and Power Girl is my latest addition. She had a short on my channel this week. And then on Tuesday, I didn't do a comic book editions video, and I wanted to see if my previous video, where I talked about a huge change to my collection, could pick up a little bit more steam. Spoiler, it didn't. But what's coming up on the channel, there's actually 5 Mondays in the month of March, because tomorrow is still technically March. So there's another International Women's History Month edition of the back issue of the week. So another female title from my collection gets saluted tomorrow with the back issue of the week. My comic book editions video on Tuesday is chocked full of so much fun stuff. I mean, stuff that maybe you guys didn't even know existed.
Oh,
that's how much fun. Some DC didn't know existed stuff. So the name Lady Cop might get mentioned in my video. Just saying. So
greatest female cop in DC
ever.
Yes. So that's coming out on Tuesday. Already on my Instagram. I don't talk about my Instagram a lot, but I posted my 1000th post this weekend.
Wow. Kudos.
Yes. And And when you look at that and wonder, is that a real comic book? The answer is yes. It is a real comic book, one of a kind.
Great.
One of a kind DC real comic book. Look for it. So now I say all of that to finally get into the book show portion. And there's a few things that I'm going to show tonight. I have collected the entire run of Volume 1 of Teen Titans. So I'm always looking for an excuse to show issue 1.
Oh, nice.
Because that's such a fun issue to get.
Oh, my God.
So I
have this entire run now?
I have this entire run. There's some guest appearances in other titles that I don't have, but I have the entire 1 through, what are the 57 that it did or whatever it did? I have it.
That's great.
I mail ordered this as a childhood collector, this back issue. As a childhood collector, I probably paid $3 or $4 for it. So it's still in great shape.
Oh my God. Yeah, but $3 or $4 back then was like, oh God, I don't know if I can afford it.
Yeah.
Is it a key by chance?
Yes, it is.
Cool.
So that's one thing I wanted to show. The story that you read, Silver-Haired Bronze Age Babe, that issue was reprinted in 1976 in Super Team Family, issue number 7, but they gave it a brand new cover. Oh. And I thought I would show that. Oh, yeah. Jack Sparling and Vince Colletta did the new cover for this reprint. So I personally like the Nick Cardy cover better. That's on the original.
Yeah.
But this is a reprint with a new cover of the story that you reviewed.
With that leg just...
Yeah, look at that leg.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Oh, man.
Probably if they reprinted Tony's story, someone would be getting hit with a purse.
Right.
Maybe she's blocking a purse.
Maybe.
Right.
He was going to hit her with a purse.
Yep. And then also today, do you guys realize what today, comic book wise, is the anniversary of?
I'm drawing a blank.
March 30th, 1939. Detective Comics number 27 was published. So in honor of that, here's a facsimile in its original size. How I wish that it was a real one.
Yeah.
And not one more I'll show for my book show tonight. Not only do I have this, last year at WonderCon, Mr. John picked up this variant for me of it.
Oh, neat.
Very cool.
Beautiful.
Which was a WonderCon exclusive.
What's that? Who did the cover on that one?
Let me double check for you in a few moments.
That's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. But they're also doing next month, an Action Comics #1 facsimile to tie in with that. And they're doing it in the same size. There's a Superman variant that's not an exclusive. It's available everywhere. That's kind of like this. That is like the David Cornsweet Superman.
Cool.
So with the car and everything. So I thought those would be fun book shows tonight.
Great.
Very cool.
Great.
Yeah. Those are neat.
And Signature King, how about you go next with a book show for us and talk about your channel?
I have a very special book show tonight in multiple ways. So, yes, we visited the LCS this week, and it was the Batman 159, big hype for Hush 2. Jim Lee's coming back, Joseph Loeb, Scott Williams, all that good stuff. So, in order of smallest to biggest, okay, we have at my LCS, if you previewed Batman 159, you got the free Ash Can preview, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
I don't know if there's anything super about these or if they're collectible at all, but just the LCS just saying thanks for the business. So they gave everyone who pre-ordered cool stuff. So that was really nice of them. My regular sized issue that I picked up, of course, I went with the foil. The Virgin foil.
Yeah.
As one would. Very cool.
One would.
Very foily. And believe it or not, this is not the biggest issue I got. So here is the size of a treasury. Okay. Here's a treasury size. So I got the Batman 158 monstrosity edition.
Oh my gosh.
As you can see the size between the two.
Wow.
It is exceptional. And one thing you can do at my LCS is if you want, you could say, hey, I need a bag and a board for this size. So I asked them jokingly, "Hey, can you give me back a board for this?" They're like, "We ran out of trash bags already, so no."
Actually, do you want a suggestion for storing that? Like
Yes.
a legitimate answer. There are, and my comic store even sells them, because 11 by 17 is a common print size. If you go to a convention, you can get like a, what do they call that, top loader, 11 by 17 size, and then you could store it in that.
Yeah, and every page in here is a shot. It is the actual comic book. So let me pull a page up here. So you can
That's
see.
cool.
It
cool.
even has the because in the issue they do a quick brief showing of Absolute Martian Manhunter, so they even included that in here too. So that was kind of neat. So that was awesome.
That's going to be so simple to store too, won't it?
Yeah, I'm regretting it already. So, and I snagged the last one, so that was pretty cool. One last book show here. Let me see if I can share my screen. This is the special part of it. So we have a potential up and coming DC artist. If I can find it, let's see. Share screen, cancel window. Yep, here we go. So this is my eldest, and she got her hands on I gave her a Batman blank, and she decided to have at it. So
that is priceless.
So that is.
I love that.
She's completing more. She has drawn the Penguin. She has drawn the Riddler, Catwoman. Joker is next. She doesn't know about Harley, so that's great. I don't know about that. So that's pretty cool.
Does she accept
signature
commissions?
princess.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh my
does
God.
she do commissions?
Right.
Yep. She'll do a commission for $1.
Oh, $1. That's even in my budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? It was out of my budget, so she charged me a hot $5. So.
Oh my God. I absolutely love that.
That is
She is quite the colorer and the artist and the drawer. So she is, she's very happy with it. So
congratulations to Signature Princess. She looked fantastic.
Yeah, when I'm gone, there will probably be an old medieval style fight for the crown because there's two of them. But I'm dead, so that's okay.
Yeah.
But coming up on the channel, probably a lot of shorts. Again, I'm doing a lot of packing, getting ready for lots of different conventions. Still waiting on my CBCS order. We'll talk about it every week. I want to get that back because there's just so much goodies in there I want to show and share with you. And there's several books in there that I have completed. They're done. I'll never get any more signatures on them because they're completely finished.
The project is done.
Yeah. Project is done. So I want to get them. I want to put them on the wall. I want to talk about them. I want to share them. So
cool.
It's taken forever. And people who have submitted their books after me are already getting them back.
Wow.
So I'm just like, what's happening?
Yeah. I tell you, yours will show up when you're gone out of town.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I don't want to happen because there's.
Well, that's what's going to happen.
I want to bring with.
Oh, okay.
To get more signatures on because those people they never come to my area. I'm literally going to them.
Cool.
Without any books. So, but that's it. Stay tuned if you like terribly edited videos containing low hanging.
Let's say a big hello and a meow to the Jackson Roy Kirk.
Hi, Jackson.
Yeah.
How are you? He points out, Ryan, though, that there were 59 Teen Titans, so apparently you're missing.
Well, I looked in volume 1 on my CLZ. It says 53.
Okay.
On my CLZ, and so I have them all. So there could be a 59 in a different volume, but I got them. So I'm covered. And before we move on to Silver Hair Bronze Age Babe book show and channel, Dan Mora was the artist on that detective that you asked me about.
Gotcha. Okay. Dan Mora's hot right now. He's on everything.
Yeah. So Silver Hair Bronze Age Babe book show channel talk time.
Channel, I have nothing going on.
Well, that will be easy to watch then.
That'll be easy to watch. I will throw up some shorts. But I'm running out of books that I haven't used on that I've have it used for shorts, and so I guess I'm just going to repeat because I'm having so much fun.
Well, I don't know.
If anyone knows.
I gave you an idea for one that I haven't seen yet. I'm just saying, it's a Reba song. Remember when we talked about that?
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
I'm old, so I forget things very simply. Okay. The only book show that I have, the only ones I've been getting are the facsimiles that come out, and this was a fun one. Fun, silly soup. And I love this guy's. This villain's his major domo is called Amazo.
Yeah.
I'm Amazo.
Yeah.
So that was fun. Now the one that I picked this one up. This was in my facsimile pile at my LCS, and I was thrilled to get it because this is the famous Batman cover that gets homaged a lot, most famously by Neil Adams in the 70s. He did a homage of this, and I was like, gosh, that's great. And I was like, I'll even read the story. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed the story, and I'm super bummed that it was to be continued.
Oh no, they haven't done a facsimile.
And they haven't done a facsimile of it, so I'm going to have to look up on the internet. I really want to find out what happens. Yeah. Because I'm not a huge fan of Golden Age stories. It just doesn't, the art doesn't grab me. But this one is like, well, I'm in now. What do you mean?
In it to win it.
And I'm in it. So anyway, this is why I like getting facsimiles, because I never would have collected this. I'm not a huge Justice League fan, so just to have these kinds of things that I can read, and as Jackson knows, I could just manhandle them and do all sorts of horrible things to them.
There is a video.
Condition-wise.
There is a video on your channel where you've taken a facsimile and ripped the back cover off and then got scissors out.
And look, here it is. I made the diorama. Jackson is now like he's on the floor, probably gasping for air. And I'm sorry, Jackson, but I had to show it. So there you go.
I almost hate to plant this seed, but I did wonder when I watched that video. I said, I wonder what that diorama would look like in the foil version.
God. Stop talking.
We would love for you to share a cover with us, your own version of book show. Maybe a Teen Titans one. That would be awesome. Or anything else that we talked about tonight. Just use the hashtag Fanboys Live in the Retro Reviews so we're able to find your Instagram posts. That would be pretty awesome. And Joel likes the diorama. So
it's marvelous. I'm never letting it go.
Yes, I like it too. There's links for the entire panel in the description for this video. If you're not please sub up all the great chatters, and kudos to our live chat tonight. I thought they were on fire and they were great, and I love seeing all the support tonight. So you guys always deliver, but you really came through tonight. So I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Next week, Silver Hair Bronze Age Babe, it's your pick. Do you want to say what next week's is?
We're gonna do some Batman stuff.
Okay.
We're gonna do some Batman stuff.
Look for that next week on the Greatest DC Comics Show on YouTube, Fanboys Live in the Retro Review. If you're watching on the Rewind, thank you as well, and good night.